High Alps were the venue for a day that will go down in history at the Tour de France. The day before stage 11, the 10th stage had been won by Magnus Kort, king of the mountains in Denmark, king of the big mountains the first time we got to them. Tadej Pogačar held on to the yellow jersey by just 11 seconds from Lennart Kemna, who'd been in the breakaway. Jonas Vingegaard would be at 39 seconds. Albertville, venue for the Winter Olympics 30 years ago, was the venue for the start of stage 11. A day that no cycling fan who was watching would ever forget. Finishing up the Col du Granon for the first time since 1986, the stage would head up the Télégraphe and the mighty Galibier. 151.7 kilometres from north to south, finishing at the Col du Granon, venue for that victory by Eduardo Chozas in 1986. That will be the last day that Bernard Hinault ever wore the yellow jersey. What would be the fate of the yellow on this particular day? Mighty gradients all along the day, over 4,000 metres of climbing, and a dream breakaway to start up. Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert acting like it was Boxing Day at Zolder, going away together. Van Aert would extend his lead in the points classification, taking 20. And 20 was the number of the riders up the road in the early breakaway. It took 30 kilometres to form and would soon grab quite a gap going over the first Lacet de Montvernier climb. Then, at the top of the Télégraphe, it all kicked off. Jumbo-Visma launching a huge attack. Van Aert already up the road with Laporte, ready to contribute. Primož Roglic and Jonas Vingegaard going at Tadej Pogačar like it was the 1950s. Coppi Bartali, riders on their own almost. Epic stuff, still with almost 60 k's to go. Marc Soler really stuck up and stood to be counted. He'd be there trying to defend things for UAE Emirates, who are already weakened by coronavirus. Meanwhile, up the road, up to the top of the Tour's most used climb, and the organiser Henri Desgranges' favourite, Barguil was away. Behind, though, you couldn't take your eyes off it. Primož Roglic was at it again. Pogačar tried to defend from the front, and you were left wondering if he'd be left to pay for the efforts. Geraint Thomas was reacting well. Nairo Quintana was there or thereabouts, as was Bardet, but Quintana's teammate Warren Barguil would take the Souvenir Henri Desgranges for the highest point of the Tour. 2,640 metres. They were crested, with Wout van Aert back in towards the end and helping to try and bring Roglic back, with Vingegaard a little further up the road. Pogačar was even lured into chasing things on the flat. And once we got to the final climb, Roglic put in one big final dig. Kuss wouldn't last long, and it would be up to Rafał Majka to try and sort things out for UAE Emirates. Nairo Quintana launched an attack on that final climb, the Col du Granon, rising out of Serre Chevalier, a narrow, windy road with gradients well above 10% in places. Romain Bardet would then set off from the Pogačar bunch. Still Majka doing his job at this point. And then Vingegaard, just over 5 kilometres when he attacked. And the man who'd been the closest to Pogačar last year was ready to threaten him this time out. Quintana would reach the front of the race. Vingegaard would go straight past Bardet. Majka done, and Pogačar showing weakness for the first time in his career. Geraint Thomas going beyond Pogačar. Vingegaard getting past Quintana and moving into the yellow virtual jersey. Even Yates and Gaudu were getting the better of a Pogačar in crisis, and Jonas Vingegaard rode on and finished the job. An appointment with history. Jumbo-Visma having the courage to take it on 60 kilometres from the finish on some of the toughest roads that the Tour de France had ever presented its contestants. A first Tour de France stage win for him. The 39 seconds past, he was in the yellow jersey. Nairo Quintana moved up in the general classification, as did Romain Bardet. Frenchman now on the podium. Geraint Thomas into fourth. Quintana down in fifth. Tadej Pogačar losing almost 3 minutes on the road, and after a stage for the ages, he'd now be 2 minutes and 22 seconds behind in third position. Jonas Vingegaard, at 25 years of age, will be the new leader. Victory by almost a minute from Quintana, a minute and 10 from Bardet, with Thomas and Gaudu in the top 5. Yates finishing ahead of Pogačar, who really slipped and slid down into 7th on the day. Exhausted, but still gentlemanly in his congratulation. Great sportsmanship shown at a new yellow jersey. A perfect day for cycling, one that will rarely be bettered. Entertainment to the end. Vingegaard the new leader, a 2 minute 16 lead over Romain Bardet. Pogačar still on the podium, but just 4 seconds ahead of Thomas. Quintana in the top 5. It's still all to play for, and Alpe d'Huez comes the day after. 165.1 kilometres. It was all change today. 3 all-category climbs to come, and climbing up the Galibier again from the start, this time from Briançon. A special day on day 11, one we will never forget. All chance for all change again, maybe on stage 12. It's Bastille Day 2. Time for the first French win. You'll be able to find out by watching on GCN+.